welcome to Otaku Talk. It's me, your boy, your host, OD, and today we'll be reviewing chapter 1098 of One Piece. Is it really chapter 1098? Wow, we're almost back in the hundreds. That's crazy. It's been quite some time. Egghead started in the 10 60s or something like that. That's incredible. Anyway, if this is your first time on this channel or you've been here before but haven't done so already, would greatly appreciate it if you could do your boy a solid, like, share, and subscribe. Would mean absolute world to me. Anyway, without much further ado, let's get into this review. So chapter 1098 of One Piece. This one was a doozy. I think this is a chapter that is going to be talked about for a very, very, very long time. I think this is a chapter, along with the corresponding chapters, that are going to solidify Kuma in the top 20 rankings from now on in One Piece. Mark my words, the next popularity contest, Kuma is probably going to crack the top 20 just because everything he's been through. This dude is a real trooper. There's no way you can't like him. Oda honestly built the perfect martyr, and honestly, this is a beautiful, beautiful, painful story. Beautifully painful story. I was reading some comments and stuff, and a lot of people were making jokes and talking about the fact that Oda said way earlier on in the series that he doesn't ever see a situation where he makes a backstory that's more tragic than Robin, something along the lines of making a backstory that's more tragic than Robin's, or that has the impact that Robin's did. And congratulations, Oda, you did it. Congratulations, Oda, you did it. I'm not trying to be a dick. Robin's backstory is tragic, it's terrible, but Kuma got you beat. We shouldn't do a victim Olympics, but Kuma got gold. Kuma got gold. Get over it. Kuma got gold. Yeah, you lost your mom. Yeah, your shit got buster called. No. No. It does not compare to what happened to Kuma. So anyway, let's get into this review. So we have a really cool cover art. It's Brook playing an electric guitar powered by an eel. Super metal. That's really cool. And so we start this chapter, and it looks like, we just have the Revolutionary Army, and they're going from place to place, Baltigo and whatnot, and, they're basically handling business. And Oda doesn't really push upon this, but I think it kind of seems like this may have happened. The events are happening sometime after it's been known that Ginny was kidnapped. I decided to call her Ginny instead of Guinea. I don't know. But that Ginny was captured. And I'm kind of getting the impression that Kuma has been wilding out. I think that he's upset with the world, upset with the celestial dragons, the world nobles, and I think that he's been letting his quote unquote tyrant side out. I can't wait till we get some flashbacks about that. I always thought the Tyrant King thing would relate to something that was happening in Sorbet, but maybe from the perspective of the celestial dragons, the people that have been in the fights with the Revolutionary Army where Kuma is, he's probably been going crazy. Maybe in his own way, he's been taking out his anxieties, his anger, his frustration, his desire to get Ginny back out on the government nobles and maybe Marines and whatnot that that these wars, these revolutions are taking place on. There's even a line where he says something along the lines of, I've worn myself out. I'm returning to the shit, right? I am a big fan, a big proponent of the juxtaposition of gentle giant who will fuck you up when he needs, the gentle giant that when he snaps completely loses it, the gentle giant that has the power to cause great devastation but doesn't, but in certain circumstances it just comes out. I'm gonna be a little bit biased. I felt that way a lot of times. I've always felt since I was a young kid, My mom always told me you have to know your. I've been big since I was a young kid. My mom's always told me you have to know your strength. I've been, even though I've always been like overweight, I was always athletic, playing basketball, football, taekwondo, and so I've always been a strong kid. And so like it has always been taken upon me to be the one to let things go, to be the one to take like abuse, to be the one that like, yeah, someone hits you, but you can't hit them back because you hit harder types. It's always been that situation, and there are a few instances, not gonna lie, in my life where I've had to go ham, and it's been scary for everyone involved. But generally, I'm smiley, adorable, Od, and so I felt a real connection to Kuma. Um, it's just crazy how much I love this character right now. Just the suffering he's been through, the sympathy and compassion I have for him, his roots in religion. I grew up in a very highly religious background. My mom was super like African, super Christian. Went to church on like every single occasion. Um, we go to church every year on Halloween. We weren't allowed to go trick or treat. It was demonic, it was satanic. So we had Harvest Fest, bullshit like that. So I definitely can relate to the character of Kuma a lot. And just the more and more things happen to him, the more and more I feel terrible. So anyway, while they're traveling, they pretty much get this announcement that well, first we get the announcement that Ginny was kidnapped to be wed to a celestial dragon. Oda once again foreshadowed that, basically had everyone in Sorbet Kingdom going head over heels for Ginny, wanting her hand in marriage, basically establishing that she's a bad bitch and she's like very valuable and people want her. But honestly, she only had eyes for Kuma. Kuma was also interested in her, but he didn't want a situation like, with his parents. That was traumatic where, might produce a buccaneer baby, and the cycle will repeat itself. They get captured, sold into slavery. Maybe Ginny dies. Maybe he dies. Maybe Bonney dies, or maybe Bonney, worse than dying, has to live a life of slavery his entire life, and he didn't want that. And so I feel really bad because towards the end of the episode, sorry, I mean the chapter, there's a moment where he has a flashback back to Jenny basically being like, marry me, will you marry me? And I think in that moment, I felt that because I feel like a part of him was like, I should have just, like, this is way worse, like anything I could have imagined. Like yada yada. Like I should have married her. Maybe if I married her, we could have stayed together. Maybe if I married her, this wouldn't happen. Yada yada. Blah blah. Who knows? But Oda decides to drop one of the biggest bombs he's ever dropped in the series. He's dropped on some big bombs, but this one is crazy. A lot of us, I feel like, had an ink this was going to happen. I think a lot of us really like it was in the back of our mind, but we were like, nah, One Piece, it won't really like go to that level. Some of you who have been here before, you heard me when I was talking in one of my other reviews. I mentioned the fact that, hey, is anyone else very like interested in the fact that her name is Jewelry Bonnie, his name is Bartholomew, and once again, I don't think we ever get Ginny's last name. So Ginny's last name could be Jewelry, or if she's actually the sister of Ivankov, which honestly, obviously, I don't think that's the case. I think Aniki situation, but like, I was like, where's this last name coming from? If Ginny's last name isn't Jewelry, and so I guess it's. I don't think it's from the Celestial Dragon. I think he just gave him a different last name, which I don't know why he didn't just give. Ah, I do get it. I do get it. Not that. So I'm getting ahead of myself. So anyway, long story short, she's able to escape, her imprisonment from her marriage from the Celestial Dragons, and she comes back with a baby. Now, for those of you that know math, or for those of you that like can't read between the lines, let's just say that baby isn't Kuma's, and she had it with the Celestial Dragon that kidnapped her. Obviously, it was not consensual. So yeah, Oda went that route, and that is savagery. savage dark, so dark. And I've noticed Oda has been getting cooler and cooler with being. One Piece has always been secretly dark. That's what's pissed me off about people that think it's this happy-go-lucky cartoony show. But like behind the facade, it's kind of like Dressrosa and all the other places. Like, yeah, it seems all cool, fun, and games, but like under the surface, it is treacherous. It is terrible. And this is just another example. Like I remember when you first, who's that one dude with the big nose on Blackbeard's crew? He basically insinuated that he was willing to. For some reason, big YouTubers don't say the R word on here, so I'm just gonna take their example and not use it because I guess it's a trigger word or something. So let's use grape. So like back then, the dude with the glug glug fruit whatnot, not Valpazara, I forget the dude's name. Anyway, he basically insinuated that he was trying to rape some, and so now we see our first official great baby in the series, and it is honestly super appalling. You know, Kuma immediately is able to determine where Ginny is. Ginny basically relays by snail a message to the revolutionary armies that she escaped, but she's going to die, not to find her. Kuma's like, "F that, I'm gonna find you." Obviously, like, yeah, she's ridiculous for that. There was no way he wasn't going to come to her, and he immediately, teleports himself over to Sorbet Kingdom. But by the time he gets there, Ginny is already dead, and there's a baby waiting for her, right? And we find out that Jory is afflicted by, sorry, not Jory, Ginny is afflicted by some kind of illness. It's the sapphire scale, and so it's some weird, obscure illness, kind of like white lead, which is very funny because they actually mention white lead in this chapter. But it's some weird, obscure illness where exposure to sunlight causes sapphire like stone like rocks or whatnot to form on your body, and eventually it will encompass the entirety of your body, eventually killing you or encompassing you in stone, like Dr. Stone or something like that, and just killing you. And it's awful. Like I've seen stuff like, was it, is it Elephant Man or Tree Man, where like people have illnesses like that in real life. In real life, there are actual illnesses like that that are kind of like nausea inducing, vomit retching inducing, that like actually exists. So it's honestly a really terrible, terrible thing. And where this illness came from, who the hell knows? How she was able to get away with it for so long, who the hell knows? I'm wondering if it's something she contracted or if it's something that was purely genetic. So I wonder if we're gonna get information on that, or if we're not gonna get too much information because Oda just needs something to happen, and this is the thing he chose. And honestly, it fits in super well because um, basically, as he's raising Bonnie, when she goes out in the sunlight, she gets the spots, and he's freaking out, freaking out, freaking out, and so he boards up all the windows in the church. Can't leave. She can't go out to preserve her life. Dragon is like, "Hey, you're our homie. We're gonna hook you up. We know doctors all across the world. We're gonna hook you up." And they find a doctor for him, and basically the doctor is like, "Yeah, she has sapphire scale. She's not gonna make it to her like 10th birthday." And he is completely devastated. Bonnie overhears it. She completely misunderstands what's happening, and she's like, "Okay, cool. So by my 10th birthday, it'll be over." And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, of course, but like it's gonna be over for you. Like you're going to die." But she's not putting two and two together, and that just makes it even more sad because like he was making all these plans with her on her 19th birthday. They're gonna go to Fishman Island. On her 20th birthday, they're gonna go to Sky Islands. Um, you know, we're starting to see a little bit more information about. I can't wait because they have to explain this at some point. How exactly Kuma knew where to take all the prospective Straw Hats. Some choices were more obvious than others, but I think we're gonna get either a flashback or a scene where we see him either planning the travels with Juri Bani, maybe wanting to take her to these places earlier before she dies, and so he goes to Sky Islands, and one of the Sky Islands he visits with area, and he goes to this other island. Like maybe every single year, he takes her to like a different island or a different series of islands or who knows what. And like some of those islands are the ones that he sent the Straw Hats to, and that's how he learned about those islands and thought, okay, these might be good places to send Straw Hats. And so I think it was super cute because she's 5 years old and she's being made fun of by all the local kids. They call her a vampire. They don't really know what's wrong with her. They just know that she's not allowed to go outside, and so they put two and two together, and they're like, "Well, who else is not allowed to go outside? Vampires." And they make fun of her and they mock her, and she doesn't take it sitting down. She's a tough kid. I fuck with her mentality, and she's like, they keep making fun of my face. Is it actually that bad? And I always feel that bad because when you're like quote unquote normal, anything that deviates looks you know bad to you. But if you're someone born with something, it's who you are. It's natural to you. You know it your whole life, so it's just it's you not like surprising. All you know is other people don't have it, and so for her, she's like, yeah, I have this thing, but is it that big a deal? And that just sucks. That's like anything in life where people have like anything that deviates from others, and it's so sad, and it's even worse when it's a child innocent doesn't really have a concept of like why this is happening to her, like why does she deserve this? And I literally lost my heart. I lost my heart when like Kuma comes, smiles, and he's like, "You mean your jewelry or your jewel?" And I was like, "That is such a fucking parent thing to do." Like so many parents like where a child sees their deformation or like their illness, the parent will spin it to make the child feel beautiful because parents, that's what parents do. They love their children. They love their children, and they're gonna do everything in their power to make their children happy and make sure their children have high self esteem and don't like get down on themselves. And so he's like, don't look at it like that. Think of it as you have jewelry on your face. And I thought that was so cute. And I thought, okay, so that's where we're getting Jory Bonnie from. And it just gives so much of that attachment. And then I couldn't remember. I was like, what's on her face now? And I remember she has that one ring. So I'm wondering how that plays into it. She has that ability with her devil fruit that can pull out jewels from people. So I'm wondering how that fits in. So there's just a lot at play here that Oda, in my opinion, has masterfully set up. Massively set up. And there's a big debate and argument about retroactive foreshadowing. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I think Oda does it. I'm gonna keep it a beam. I think he does it, but I think he does it so well, it's acceptable. There are moments where you're like, eh, but not like generally more so than not. I think it benefits the story well and is done in such a genius way that you can't help but be like, yeah, I accept this. And so I don't know if he had this planned originally or this like he came up with on like as he went, but it is masterful, masterful, masterful writing in my opinion, and I absolutely love it. So the original king of Sorbet Kingdom returns. I didn't even know he left in the first place. I guess maybe when the Revolutionary Army showed up and freed and the rest of them in the first place, maybe kind of like Wapol, he dipped out. But then when things settled down, and Kuma was gone, Ginny was gone. They were doing their Revolutionary Army thing. Everyone was gone. He probably came back and started trying to rule things again, right? And so he comes back and starts trying to do the same old shit, try to get rid of all the trash, kind of similar to how the Goa Kingdom was trying to do the same thing. We're seeing this where honestly we see this in the real world where we put spikes on homeless people benches and stuff like that. We don't want homeless people to be they're a blight on society. So we're seeing these things in actual real life. And so the king comes back. Now, obviously, Kuma's not going to let this happen. Obviously, he's going to usurp the throne. He's going to take it over. He's going to become the king. My question is, why does he become called a tyrant? Is he called a tyrant by the celestial dragons and the world nobles, and that's why he gets his title? So to the people, he's not a tyrant, but to them, the people that get to create the labels, that get to create the news, that get to like create the bounties, they got to pick his name as a tyrant. Or maybe he does some kind of tyrannical stuff in order to take over the throne. Maybe he's just had it, loses it. I'm just saying this. All I'm gonna say is this: you can only be pushed so much. I don't care how kind you are as a person. The worst people to snap are the kindest. I'm just, I take this from me, from like experience, the kindest people hold in the most. And literally Kuma holds in the most. This dude for weeks, for a minimum of at least like what, 10, 10, 15, 20 years. I forget the exact timeline, but let's just say for a minimum of 10 years, this dude every week for 52 weeks a year for 10 years, so 520 weeks, that's tens of thousands of days, was taking on the pain of so many people upon himself, didn't even ask for anything like to do it, didn't ask for anything, didn't want any acknowledgement of it, didn't want any payment for it, just did it because he's a good person and he wants people to feel good. And he's, religious. He believes in like, Sanganik and all this stuff. He just takes and takes and takes, and life just takes and takes and takes from him, and he gives and gives and gives. And I just think at a certain point there is a boiling point, and I'm really hoping we get to witness that from Kuma, because there's just no way that like you are perfect without fault. And I think that's kind of what Oda was alluding to earlier when we had the Revolutionary Army fight in these places. I think Kuma was going brazy. I think he's about to go brazy again on the king. I think something is going to happen to Doribani when he goes to fight the king. Maybe she hears that he's in danger and runs out to help him. Maybe she, like, at first she's covered up, but someone uncovers her and she instantly dies or something like that. I do think it's a little bit convenient that uh, Jenny was able to get to like what 30 years old or something like that, around that age, without this being a problem, and like Jewelry Bonnie isn't going to be able to make it to 10. That's a little weird. Maybe every generation it increases like the rate it spreads. Who knows? Whatever. Once again, I think Oda just needs to be a narrative device, and whatever. I'm cool with that. So let's get to the heart of the matter. So it really truly does seem that Juri Bani is a kid. Based on the timeline we're presented, he should be 12 years old right now. That's the age that, like, doing math, that I got. She should be 12 years old. So why has she been presenting herself as much older? Also, why does she no longer have the disease? Is she still herself? Part of me thinks she's a clone of the original, right? Also, I didn't even get to mention this, and I'll be remiss with saying this when I was talking about like how this is Kuma's kid. He's not even real. Kuma's such a good person. This is not even his kid, but it is the daughter of the woman that he loves or loved, and he's taken upon himself to be like the ultimate stepdad, and that is insane to me. Like Kuma's literally winning so many popularity contests after this. Like he's just the greatest guy ever, and so it just leads back to, okay, so why is she pretending to be older? Why is she no longer afflicted by the disease? And part of me, all of it points back to Vegapunk. So how did he get introduced to Vegapunk? How was Juri Bani? So for some reason, I have been saying in video after video after video that Juri Bani was at Egghead 20 years ago. I checked some chapters. It doesn't say that, but she does say that she was here as a child. So maybe, Dragon tells Kuma, hey, doctors from all around. He knows the best doctor slash scientist. Vegapunk maybe pulled some strings, was able to get in contact with Vegapunk, said, hey, my homie has an issue. His daughter has this like very rare, incurable disease, blah, blah. Is there anything you can do about it? And basically Vegapunk's like, I'll see what I can do, but I'm not really allowed to help you. You're a Revolutionary Army. I work for the Marines, yada yada yada. And maybe that's when Kuma said, "Fuck it. I'm gonna become a Shichibukai. I will do your will. Just do this for me." Maybe that wasn't enough for the world government. They're like, "Nah, that's not enough. You gotta give us more." And he was like, "I will be your weapon." That's what you want, right? That's why, like, I got Buccaneer blood in me. I'm powerful. I'm strong. I can be your weapon. And the world government was like, we do have the Visa project that I think you would be a great prototype for. Maybe that's the whole reason that he took that deal in the first place. He made that deal with the devil in order to save his daughter. And honestly, once again, that would be completely heart wrenching, honestly, compelling storytelling. Also, real quick, something I want to talk about is the fact that everyone has been mentioning this scene where we initially meet Jory Bonnie in the iceberg or whatever, and she's clearly a child, and a lot of people have been saying we've known since then that she was a child because she was stuck in water. Her devil fruit ability was deactivated, and she was turned into a child. Not gonna lie, in hindsight, obviously that's the case, but let's keep it real. Let's keep it really, really real. Devil fruit powers are inconsistent. Some devil fruit powers can last while you're incapacitated or unconscious. Some others will immediately stop. Luffy retains his rubberness when he's in, when he's in water. It doesn't stop him from being rubber. So like, it's a real stretch of the imagination and kind of disingenuous to say it was obvious. It wasn't obvious. This is something that like has happened multiple times. It could have been any reason that she was in a child form at that time. Come on. So there's that aspect. Um but then how do we go about curing Bonnie? So maybe I'm just, shoot the shit right now. Maybe it's a situation where they get her the what's it called? The I forget what it's called. I know Oda said it in the latest SBS, but let's say it's like the aging or something like that. It doesn't matter. You guys get the gist of what I'm getting at. And one thing I noticed that's really cool about the fruit is it can pick prospective futures and pasts to age or de-age you. So a future where you're fat, a future where you're skinny, a future where you're buff. And so maybe they gave her the fruit and was like, age yourself up to a future where you are cured or you're healed or you never had this, or de-age yourself to a past where you never contracted the illness, where you never inherited the illness. So that's one aspect of it. The other aspect that I think we're gonna go down is I think it's a clone of his dead daughter. I think that once again he's gonna have to leave his daughter to go fight the king. There's someone who's gonna come kidnap her, or she's gonna go out to go help. Something's gonna go amiss. She's gonna get exposed to sunlight. She's gonna die then or there. Kuma's gonna lose his shit. He's gonna go crazy on Sorbet Kingdom, do like incredibly fucked up things, but not to like innocent people, but like the people there. Maybe he'll make a pain bubble and make the king himself take on all the pain of all the like civilians that he's subjected to, like all this like anger stuff like that. That would be freaking insane. I would love to see like the Celestial or the King of Sorbet get their just desserts in the form of a pain bubble. Oof, that would be phenomenal. I really like that's like one of my things of things I really wish to see. Someone that actually deserves it, taking on the pain of those that they've inflicted pain on. That would be beautiful. And so my thing is, whatever happens, happens. Bonnie dies, and Kuma's like, I can bring her back. It's not gonna be exactly the same, but it'll be her more or less. I think that's why we've been getting a lot of stuff with Seraphim, the Pacifista, and Buckingham Stussy and stuff like that. Um, she's undeniably human. So I think maybe that's what we're gonna see with Bonnie. You know what's funny? Originally, when I found out about Ginny's illness and that she was like turning blue and into stone, I was thinking, does this have any relation to the poneglyphs? Those of you that have been on my channel for a while, I have this crazy theory that the reason that the poneglyphs are, built like a box, and the reason that you like kind of interpret or listen or hear something from them with the voice of all things, because there is like they're hockey or there is something inside the cube that is resonating with. And so I was like, oh my god, so are the poneglyphs made out of humans? Are they made out of so I don't know if that's the case. I don't know how hard the turn, but that's just something I want to put out there just to say I put it out there. Anyway, Thank you guys so much for tuning into Otaku Talk. I'm gonna leave it here for today. But honestly, tremendous, 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 just tremendous. What a tremendous chapter. Um, Quintessential like trauma porn, suffering porn, and I just cannot wait for the next chapter to see where Oda goes from here, what happens, like how Juri Bonney comes to Juri Bonney. We know why Kuma became him. Another thing with the clone is maybe he's able to push out the memories of the original body, and then put it in the mind of the clone body. So there's a lot going on. It's actually kind of funny because I'm literally watching a show about clones right now called Orphan Black Echoes. It's a sequel to another show. So like I have a lot of ideas about clones and stuff. But yeah, phenomenal, phenomenal chapter. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think on. Let me know if you think it's the real Bonnie and she healed. Let me know if you think it's a clone of Bonnie. Let me know if you think it became a cyborg in order to get Bonnie the treatment, in order to get the world government to agree to allow Vegapunk, save her, and just like any other theories that you think about or anything that I missed, let me know. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning into Otaku Talk. It's me, your boy, your host, OD. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Would mean the absolute world to me. Anyway, take care. Peace. Have a great rest of your week.